Welcome, Smash Ballers, once again to another episode of the SmashDell Fantasy Football Show. We are here on a Thursday, I believe, evening here on a late take. We've got, once again, the general manager of the Laces Out franchise, Nicholas Nelson. Now, we had him on prior here. I don't know what it was, 3 weeks ago. It's hard to lose track now, or hard to keep track. We're going to be efforting a lot of guests, but Nick was on and we chatted about, we chatted about his roster, how the draft affected his roster and different things like that. And so, how you doing, man?
Good. How are you doing?
Not bad. Basically, just cobbling. I feel like I called your dad the grappler, and I called um, I'm the cobbler because and a lot of people are right now cobblers. So that's what all I'm trying to do is stay healthy, at least be able to field a roster until say through the next 4 weeks at least, so that I can get some of my guys healthy.
Yeah,
So
it sounds like a lot of the guys are going to be dealing with the same issues. You know, we got bye weeks and we got a load of injuries where most of everybody's favorite guys they want to start week in week out are banged up.
it seems like there are a rather litany of injuries, and when I went through the injuries, 3 weeks ago and whatnot, the list was manageable, but now it's become laborious to go through it all. But you haven't been struck too bad yourself.
Well, it doesn't sound like Mixon's going to be playing this week again. So whoever's got Bernard might be looking to start him. But yeah, I'm definitely feeling the absence of Mixon in the lineup. You know, I'm going to have to go four wide receivers again and pray for some catches.
But that's not bad. I mean, you're set up, I mean, as well as I am when we go four wide, so hell, I was chasing out Edmonds, uh, basically just on a prayer, and just to get 5 points. And of course, my prayer was answered when Drake went down with what they're calling a high ankle sprain. So we kind of went over this before, but next man up definitely in Arizona there with one Chase Edmonds. Now he's got a bye, but
Yep.
uh, but I think Edmonds owners, are going to cash in here at least in the midterm. And Drake, yeah, he had 20 what for 164 or whatever it was. It was a long one and a couple decent ones. Other than that, he's still averaging 3 point something yards a carry. I'm
Yep.
sorry, he's not explosive. But
Oh yeah, and like last time you had me on, I said, all Evans ever does when he gets an opportunity is perform, and he does it again. And now with Drake out for probably 4 to 6 weeks, I mean,
oh man.
you're kind of set there with the Edmonds pick.
Well, I needed Edmonds because, of course, Eckler is out for the next 4 to 6 weeks. So he's going to be my mini Eckler, if you will, and see if he can uh, cobble together some. He's good at he gets probably 8 targets a game. So I mean, he's an 80 catch a year guy. If he was full time back, he'd catch 80 balls. I'm not hesitant to say that at all. But they don't throw a lot to Drake. But
Yeah.
um, well, should we get to the on buy segment and go through some of the buys here this week?
Yeah, it sounds good.
All right. Well, let's take a look here. We've kind of already touched on a couple of them here, but on quarterbacks, we've got Kyler Murray, Deshaun Watson. So two of note right there. Owners will have to try to match that 30 to 40 point mentality there. Gardner Minshew and Kyle Allen. Now the thing about Minshew that's interesting is that's one tough son of a gun because mustache and all, the dude has been dealing with multiple fractures and a ligament strain in his right thumb,
Yep.
and he's right-handed. So a la Brett Favre, right? I mean, the kid's a fighter. And that might account for some of the struggles that he's been having. They've been wanting to write him out on a rail, but indeed maybe, because he was pretty productive, prior to this now disclosed multiple fracture ordeal, wasn't he?
Oh yeah, he got off to a decent start for sure. But yeah, with this injury, it sounds like he's gonna. I mean, he's got the week off, but doesn't sound like he's gonna be playing next week even. So that'll
Yeah,
be
so
interesting.
yeah, that hurts the depth there. And then Kyle Allen, not really anything of consequence. If you're starting Kyle Allen, Sledge, then you're in big trouble. But I think he's settled on Bridgewater for now. So
Yeah,
um, I've
yeah. I
got,
got the game on right now in the background, and looks like Teddy turnover, or sorry, Teddy torn knees, has been okay.
too much time for Teddy. He has been okay, and he's actually been having a good year. I mean, he really has. He's really been successful, and he's not Mr. 5 yards per attempt. You know, he's actually doing a little bit more because he was always in that 10, 12 yard pass range.
Yeah.
But well, yeah, it looks
Yeah,
like
well, I feel like a lot of us are counting on him to be productive because I'm starting DJ Moore most weeks. I know Robbie Anderson is getting started most weeks, and
oh
then
yes.
Curtis Samuel is always a decent flex play.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He's been getting some more touches. Uh, on the running back side, we've got Chase Edmonds, of course, Kenyon Drake. We've got Antonio Gibson,
Yep.
uh, and that would also be J.D. McKissick. So not really a lot of firepower there on bye this week. I thought it would be more than that, but indeed, that's all we show.
Yeah,
To
it
re-
sounds like the big name there sounds like Gibson for half chubby, but
yep,
he's got some other depth options.
and I'm losing my Chase Edmonds for bye, but then I'm getting Cook back. So at least I'll have one running back in at all times for now. So let's see. Let's go down to wide receivers here. Big
Well,
name of the
actually,
week.
here
Hmm?
just on running backs, I was just peeking at Chubby's roster. He's got Gibson, David Johnson, and James Robinson all on by.
Yes, that's right.
So
That's
I
right.
don't know. Maybe we'll break down some rosters later and see how that affects everybody.
Yeah, but that is true. James Robinson, David Johnson, and Duke Johnson. Yes, you are absolutely right. In addition to those names on by.
Yep.
So the big name on the wide receiving core, of course, is going to be DeAndre Hopkins there, as well as Christian Kirk, up and comer right now. So DeAndre Hopkins is going to be a loss there for those owners, and Christian Kirk probably losing a flex at least for now, if not a weekly starter quite yet. But they've been figuring out in Arizona how to use him closer to the goal line, and that's always where he's been a threat. And he's not a big guy, but then we've got Terry McLaurin. Of course, that'll hurt
Yep.
because he's been producing. Will Fuller, that'll nick some owners. DJ Chark, now he's back healthy now, but now he's on bye, so that'll probably help his future, but he'll be startable. Brandon Cooks, Keelan Cole, Laviska Chenault, and Randall Cobb. So uh, that's really about it for the buys. As far as they go, but we've actually got to get into some miscellaneous news at the moment. And now, don't look now, but Todd Gurley is tied for the league lead in touchdowns with
Well,
Delvin Cook and Derrick Henry. What's your Gurley take?
well, I mean, he should have had one less touchdown if he would have stopped at the 1 yard line, a la what they wanted to do.
Oh yeah. What
But
do you
yeah,
think?
Gurley looks good. He looks good in red and black. They need somebody to pound it in with. I don't really like the Ito Smith or the other options at running back, but yeah, if Gurley can stay healthy, which it looks like he is, um, you know, he might be a half step slower than he was in LA, but in LA he was MVP talent.
Oh yeah. And he got 23 carries the other day, last week. So he only got 60 some yards, but he scored the touchdowns. And
Yeah,
so they gave him a lot of carries for uh for Gurley. Um so who else are they really gonna rely on there? You've got Ito Smith. Who else is there? Who's the guy who spells him in there besides Ito?
well, they got
Brian Hill.
yeah, Brian Hill.
Brian Hill. Um,
Yeah.
and news out of Buffalo now is we looks like we might have a little something to be said here by Zach Moss because he doesn't sound like he's been too happy with his activity because he's been playing like it on Sundays and Singletary just not quite recently getting it done. He's not a spark. But Zach Moss is productive with his touches, and it's clear to see. So Zach Moss stock up, Singletary stock down. Now he's still got a lot of equity, a lot of cred, but just note, Singletary owners, that your day is soon coming where Moss is going to maybe not steal the whole show, but enough to make you put you in fantasy. What in the nether regions of fantasy, right down there between that and the nether, pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, Singletary last year as a rookie, he had, in the middle of the season, probably 8 games where he looked real good. Where
Had a
I thought
Yeah,
he was going to be the future there, but they draft Moss high, and Singletary has looked mediocre for the most part this year. So yeah, I definitely expect Moss to get more looks there.
it's hard to know what to attribute that to, without a closer look, whether it's
Yeah, because it
blocking
never
or
sounds
whether
like he's
it's
really banged up.
and it's a
So
short sample, it's a small sample size. It's a small bite of the cookie because Moss really is recently back, right? He's
yep,
recently back, really being healthy. So Zach Moss wasn't projected to be like a bell cow dominant NFL franchise back when he came in, but a high level contributor is really what Waldman had him at. So, and that's, opportunity, talent, and opportunity. And that's all you need in the NFL because it's a what have you done for me lately league. And
yep.
so, um, well, we have an Alfred Morris sighting, lingering his grizzled beard in for the Giants there with Devontae Freeman unlikely to play this week. So it looks like it's Wayne Gallman, of course, right? But it's Wayne Gallman. Yeah. So
Yeah, they gave Gelman a legit chance the year before they drafted Saquon, and of course they drafted Saquon because of what Gallman gave them.
well, he just can't, he's a contributor in a committee, but that's it. And so Alfred Morris, my God, I thought he like was in an assisted living facility. I can't believe that he's being signed by the. But anyway, they must have thought that they were going to use him because they actually protected him on the practice squad so that no other team could sign him. So I think they know that old Devontae might be out, but it's the Giants, right? We're spending a little too much airtime on the Devontae Freeman injury as well. Um, but another good one, like you said, you alluded to Mixon,
Yeah.
and we got Geo owners. Mixon's got that foot. I really didn't think it was that bad. I thought he was going to play the next week, if not the week after. But I think maybe they might have a bye week 9. Does he have a bye week 9?
I'd have to peek, but the reports all week is that they plan on playing Mixon, yet he's yet to practice. So I'm starting to lose all hope that he's going to be ready to go.
Well, and I don't have any late breaking news on that. As far as I don't know if he practiced Wednesday or Tuesday or Thursday. I know he didn't practice yesterday, and I doubt he'll practice tomorrow. And
Yeah, I know.
so
I got his report out in front of me, and he didn't practice today.
he didn't practice today.
No. But
Well, it
yeah, you
does
were right. They do have their bye week 9. So he'll get another week to rest up, and hopefully he's good week 10.
for the playoff push. Yeah, indeed. Um, Now we've got Chris Carson is out, questionable, and probably more on the questionable, doubtful side. He's got a foot there.
Yeah.
So that's going to mean that Hyde's going to go ahead and take the reins there. Hyde injured himself, had a hamstring injury after the game, but indeed looks to be next man up there, along with
Well, they got DJ Dallas.
DJ Dallas. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Carroll came out and said that Hyde's injury wasn't major and he should be good to go. So we'll see if he can keep it loose throughout the game and get the 20 carries that Seattle, is going to give to the backfield. Just a matter of if Hyde can stay in there, I mean, you're probably looking at 80 yards and maybe a score, which is good for fantasy. And you never know if he could deliver on
Yeah.
more. But
Well, he would definitely be a good start. I don't know what the matchup is there, but I think it might be a fairly tasty one this week. We can kind of get into that later. Um, and so now moving down, you got Sanders, Bernie Sanders. Oh, Miles Sanders did not practice, and actually, he's not likely to go. He's not likely to
you know,
go at all this week. So it's looking like one Boston Scott is next man on the totem pole. So he's not a bad start. He salvaged his week with a touchdown. So, it's not you could have worse flexes out there than that, than Boston Scott. We've
yeah,
got,
they said Sanders hasn't seen the field since he injured his knee on that 74-yard run, and they're still deeming him day to day. But I mean, without even a snap in practice, it doesn't seem like his timetable is anytime soon.
no, no, if he didn't practice today, then I would consider him like doubtful. And they'll probably
Yeah,
declare him out, but you need to be prepared if you're Sanders owner. Chubb out, plus he's got a week 9 bye here. And so he's out, 1, 2, who knows, 3, 4. It's really unclear. Being on IR there, but they'll have to pull him off. He's been on there. Let's see, he's been on there for this would be 3 games,
Week
I think.
5,
5, 5,
week
6,
5, 6,
7.
7.
So he's due to come off the IR. He's eligible.
Yeah, but they got their bye again next week, so I'm sure they'll sit him one more week.
Yeah,
Luckily for Cleveland, they got Kareem, and it's good for the Kareem Hunt owners. But
yeah, he's in a similar situation to Eckler there in LA, just because of the fact that they're on IR. They're due to come back, but when? I mean, you don't hear really any info on Chubb, so it must have been a fairly substantial injury, but maybe not as bad as Eckler's there. But then over in Denver, Lindsey is concussed and actually is questionable, but I would monitor that one because it looks like he might play. If not, it would be Melvin Gordon, next man up there, or not next man up. He is the man, but I don't know if Lindsey he's going through that protocol, so I don't know if he practiced today, Thursday, or if he didn't. But
uh,
um,
looking at it, looks like he was limited in practice. So I mean, if he plays, maybe a flex option, but if he doesn't, that's huge for Gordon owners.
yeah. Then over you got Ingram. If you're just wailing at the gods about Ingram, he's got that ankle, did not practice, so that's kind of concerning that as well. And let's say that they sat him, it would be J.K. Dobbins and what's the other gentleman over there in Baltimore?
They got Gus Edwards.
Gus Edwards, yeah. So it'd be Gus Edwards and the aforementioned battling for carries, and there is no clear-cut choice there. So I would say the backfield is a hot mess.
Oh yeah, big time.
That would be the hot mess segment of the show here. Uh, let's go ahead and keep moving because we got to get through these. We've got the whole entire Saints core as far as receivers go. Did we miss any running backs before we move on there quickly? Um,
Uh,
McCaffrey, I didn't mention McCaffrey. Now, McCaffrey actually is eligible to play. So I would go ahead and monitor that one. And I
yeah,
wonder if they won't sit him. I wonder if they don't have a week 9 bye as well for the Carolina franchise, because it might be that whole theory again is do it for the playoff push. So we'll
yeah.
have to have
I
a
mean, if
crack.
McCaffrey's playing, sorry, as a fantasy owner, you have to start him. But I mean, he might be in a limited fashion for snaps.
Yeah, 15 touches though, and he can do the day. But we'll have to get our crack research staff on the very latest as far as whether he practiced today. But yeah,
Uh,
the
one other big name at running back that we missed is Aaron Jones.
oh, Aaron Jones. Yeah, I had him on my post-it note, but I didn't transfer it over. Aaron Jones, I would say unlikely to play at this stage.
Yeah.
Would that be your guess as well, as far as the updated news?
Yeah, I haven't read much on Aaron Jones, but just listening to K-Fan today, it doesn't sound like Green Bay is too confident he's going to go against the purple. So,
No, it's Jamal Williams. And of course, every time you play the Vikings, you play your players. So Jamal Williams, a nice play this weekend, as is every other Packer, uh, including Marquez Valdez Scantling, because he'll chew him up again. So play everybody that you got.
yeah.
Um,
Well, then the other running back in that game on the other side of the field, Delvin Cook, hopefully he comes back full go this week.
Yeah, in fact, he told reporters that he is definitely coming back, and so mark it down. Bottom line is what he was heard saying um, to the security staff, at least that we house here at the bubble compound. It's a bubble, but we still need security, things like that. So he's in, he's playing. So I didn't touch on him, but that's obviously a good one, a big one to bring up. Um,
I guess I got one more on my list, and that'd be 3 touchdowns last week. Jeff Wilson Jr. of the Niners. We all
oh
thought it was going to be
yes,
McKinnon, and Wilson got everything, but now he's out.
that's a big one. Jeff Wilson was like, "Oh my," and McKinnon got scraps, and Wilson looked good, and
Yep.
um,
But I know Tevin Coleman is eligible to come off of IR this week, so we'll
Tevin
see if he
Coleman is
suits
another
up
one.
and if he's
Yep,
able to. Yeah, we'll see if he can garnish some carries there.
yep. Coleman was another one that we needed to touch on with his knee there, and if Coleman it's questionable. I don't think it's. I think it's more on the doubtful side, but if it is, then Jamichael Hasty's going to pick up some scraps as well there now with Jeff Wilson down. So scramble for the Jamichael Hasty stocks because he's going to be out for quite a while, I believe.
Well, yeah, they placed him on IR, so he's out for at least 3-4 weeks.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that should take care of the backs then. So I think we're good with backs. But like I said before, the whole Saints receiving core is down. Traquan Smith is last man standing there. Marquez, um, what's his
Callaway?
face? Marquez Callaway also has an ankle injury and is questionable. I don't know if he has any short-term value of any kind, but Michael Thomas hasn't practiced since week 1, right?
Well, I know he was practicing I think it was 2 weeks ago, because he ended up getting held out of that game because he punched a player in practice.
But then he was held out the game after that, and he's looking doubtful to play on Sunday.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I feel bad for the Michael Thomas owners, but he had enough points last year to go for 2 years.
well, the Michael Thomas and DeAndre Hopkins bridesmaid owns both receivers, and so he'll be scratching in the hen house for any corn that may be left by the chickens that were foraging in his roster. And so it's going to be hard for him to, but he always does compete. So
Yeah.
Jamison Crowder. Jamison Crowder's been a pretty good start this year. Questionable groin. Devontae Parker, questionable with a groin. Monitor that. I think he may play as he normally does when he's injured. Uh, Definitely good news for Preston Williams because Parker, maybe if he does play, he'll be limited. So it's good news for Preston Williams owners. And with Tua in there, and with he and Williams, I think having a little bit of synergy, back in the day, back in college or something they had. But I think it could be the start of something very nice, a start of a very beautiful relationship. So who
Oh yeah,
knows?
very excited to go see two out there. It'll be fun.
Well, you didn't expect to see him out there this early. You
No, I
expected to see
didn't.
him
I
out there
thought,
next year, right?
yeah, I mean, Fitzpatrick didn't look bad. I mean, he looked great when they were winning and terrible when they were losing. But I thought, they're not going to be playing for anything this year. Maybe just keep him healthy and let him ride the bench. But they're thinking, hey, we got nothing to lose. We're not Super Bowl contenders. Let's see what the kids got.
Yeah, they basically threw in early. I mean, Fitzpatrick had just won 2 games and thrown like 6 touchdowns or something. And then they said, "You're fired." So I felt for the guy, man. He was almost heartbroken in that interview. And it's like, God, I could feel for you, man. It's like, God, I thought things were going well. The birds were chirping. The sun was out most of the time. The winds weren't really against me, and I was winning. And then they just pulled the carpet out, and here I am, honey. It may be my last hurrah. Because if he loses that job there, I don't know. I don't think they intend on putting Fitzpatrick back in unless they have to there.
Yeah, I mean, he's been a great journeyman for whatever 17, 18 years.
Yep.
He's got a wealth of knowledge, so maybe someone will continue to give him an opportunity to help siege the bridge for younger guys to develop.
I don't know if he's going to necessarily be back in Miami, though, as a mentor to Tua. I don't think that's where he's at in his career. What do you think?
I mean, I guess I don't know what he's got left on his contract, but I mean, if I'm going to get paid $5-6 million a year to sit on the bench, why not?
So you think he may just take a contract after getting his heart just broke? I don't know. He might want to either retire or move on. But where do you move to now? I mean, it's 8 teams. I mean, move to the purple. You guys always like washed up quarterbacks that you just need one more piece. So
Well, the way
anyway,
this season's been going, we'd welcome him with open arms.
yeah. And then we need to go ahead and go right to the Godwin because he hurt his finger on a touchdown catch and fractured his finger. I think it was his index finger and had surgery on it on Tuesday. And they thought, oh, he can probably make it back for the next game. But now they're saying, well, no, it'd be a surprise. So he's pretty much out for week 8, and they have a
I,
week 9 bye.
I believe he has been officially ruled out. So
Yep, he is out. So that's great for Godwin owners. You just got him back. And once again, he is out. So not encouraging on the stability front at all, whether it's just sheer bad luck or what it is. It's certainly not attractive to uh, owners with Godwin stock that they brought in Antonio Brown just as Godwin gets hurt. They bring in Antonio Brown, who Brady has played with and lobbied to get in there. It's like, wait a minute, you guys got Evans and freaking Godwin and Gronk. Why would you lobby for Antonio Brown on top of it, Nick? Who the hell is
well, I
this
mean,
Tom? Who is this Tom Brady character? He wants to bring even more people in.
yeah, he doesn't care who they are but if they can perform, I mean, he just wants to win no
I
matter
think
what.
it's I think it's a bad move. I he hasn't been good. He's been unstable and not very he's kind of been a cancer and this and that and he kind of ruined himself and then he said I'm never playing again. So I don't know what's going on there in Tampa, but I know Bruce Arians probably won't take a hell of a lot of crap. So the walrus over there. Um,
Yeah, probably not. But I'm sure he'll be on a short leash. But if he can figure it out, I'm sure he'll perform.
Tom Brady is putting the ball around, so there's plenty of chops there for everybody. A Rob is concussed. He that hit from behind late in the fourth quarter. The referee basically decision to go ahead and tell him to get off the field. And I don't know. He probably is not going to play. All right, that's what is kind of leaning to. Didn't practice today, but on the other hand, you could see him with his helmet off, barking at the official. as he was on the sidelines. So he was pretty upset about being pulled. So I think he's just got to go through the protocol. But you have to be prepared to not play him this week. I don't know what the latest is, but it's always you got to monitor very closely when it's a concussed injury. Edelman. Edelman has not been good, but he
Nope.
is likely out this week. He is generally beat up, and he's been playing beat up for a number of weeks now. And I think they're going to finally pull the plug on him. And I didn't even put down the latest malady because he's got so many here that
Yeah, he actually just had a procedure on his knee this week, and he is out. And they haven't said how much time he'll miss because it doesn't sound like it's a significant procedure, but he's
yeah,
definitely going to miss this week.
he'll miss a week. Knowing Edelman, he'll miss a week and he'll be back there. Um, Another one to look at, John Brown owners. I know the owner in our league who's got him, I think counts on John Brown to start. Is that CC Fall Guy?
That would be CC.
Yeah, and so he's likely to play this week. He's questionable, but I think trending toward likely. So that is definitely good news for John Brown owners. Debo Samuel out. Debo Samuel will not play on Sunday. And I know he's on the Crazy Horse roster, and he can win and play without him, but it's nice to have him because he's a big play guy when he's in there, right? So
Oh, yeah. I think he's their best receiver, but luckily for Crazy, he also has Ayuk, I believe. I might be wrong there, but Ayuk looks good with the ball in his hands.
yeah, I can't. Yeah, he does. He gets limited touches, but he's very successful with those touches. On runs near the goal line, down right in the red zone there, um, things like that. Very talented. Sammy Watkins, hammy, moon over my hammy, not likely to play. Tim Patrick, not likely to play. Tim Patrick, what is the malady on Patrick here? I think it might be a hammy for Patrick as well. But anyway, Tim Patrick has been actually coming on pretty well there with Drew Lock in Denver. So he was becoming a flex play there.
Just looking at what I just said with Ayuk, it's in fact Skull that has him, so it's good for Skull and not so much for Crazy.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, Tim Patrick, hammy. Um, so he's out. We're also looking at Jalen Rieger, who is ready to go, I think. I would say monitor him, but with the lack of options there and with Elshon Jeffrey did not practice, so likely out. It sounds like the surgically repaired foot is okay, but I don't think he's going to go. So Jalen Rieger could be a sneaky play, and I would watch him because his stock, could be rising a little bit, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. I don't think it really deteriorated much. I mean, obviously hasn't played, so we don't know what we're getting, but he had enormous talent coming out of college. You got to remember he got taken ahead of Jefferson, so Philly thinks very highly of him. And in fact, he was an auction in our draft.
Oh yeah, yeah. I don't know who got Rieger, but I think he's going to pay dividends. It's just it's hard to say what's going on there. It's tough to watch the Philly because you've got Carson Palmer, and some weeks he's looking like an 18-point guy, and then he puts up 38 or something crazy. So
Oh yeah.
you're really not trotting him out there. I think um, I think Just Win Baby has him. I'm not sure, but I think he's going to have to be trotted out there um,
Well, I
because of
believe CC has Rhaegar.
he has Wentz.
He's got Wentz and Rhaegar.
Oh, okay. So I think he'll be playing Wentz this week, won't he? Because of his bye week
He's been
situation.
rolling with the Herbert kid. It
Oh, yeah.
looks real nice. I mean, Wentz would not be a bad play this week, but he's rolling with the Herbert.
Yeah, Herbert does not have a bye this week. So that's right. He was not on the bye list.
Yeah. You could always plug in Wentz, but as of right now, it looks like he's got Herbert rolling.
Yeah, that I think that covers most of the receivers that I can think of. I mean, not that that's not enough. We've covered a lot of late breaking information here for receivers. Uh, Tight ends, we're really not going to go into too much here. There's nobody really. Logan Thomas of significance on by. Tyler Higbee with his hand. So monitor that one if Everett can't go. Austin Hooper is out. So that's good news for first Harrison Bryant owners and second Njoku. But Njoku's stock definitely trending sideways to maybe a little bit down on the moment with Harrison Bryant stocks going up. But, he's not going to have a very, I mean, it's hard to say what'll happen with those, but Njoku, I'm not sure what that situation is going to look like after this week. But Hooper's out with that appendix for crying out loud. He had some kind of appendicitis attack or something.
Yeah, I mean, Cleveland's got an interesting situation there. I know Njoku demanded another trade like he did in the offseason, and with the emergence of Harrison Bryant, and if as long as they can get Hooper back relatively soon, I wouldn't be surprised if Njoku was on the move.
Is that right? Yet this year, you think maybe?
I think it was early this week or over the
So,
weekend that Njoku demanded a trade again.
so you think it'll be a done deal this year yet?
Well, as long as Harrison Bryant shows some more promise, I don't see why you'd keep the third guy that doesn't want to be there.
Yeah, and I think Harrison Bryant definitely coming out of college had some definite appeal to him, and is a very talented, uh, definitely um, tight end heavy in the red zone there. I think when they get near the goal line, they certainly look for him. He's got like 4 or 5 touchdowns, I think, already this year, something like that, and some 1 and 2 yarders. So they're definitely looking for the big man right where it counts there. And then, of course, being without OBJ, that's going to
Yeah.
just open up a few more targets. But we didn't talk about Richard Higgins on the injury list, but I think he might be dinged a little. Have you heard anything on Higgins? Because without OBJ, it's going to be Landry and it's going to be Higgins. But breathing on the back of his neck is going to be that that Cardell guy that I picked up. What's his name? He just got activated off the IR, and
Uh, it's like Hodge or something.
yeah, Cardell
No,
Hodge. Now he actually had beaten out uh, Richard Higgins in preseason. He had the gig, but he got hurt, and so he's definitely going to get some play here. It'll remain to be seen if he can unseat Higgins. You're looking at the number 2 receiver in Cleveland, which in most weeks you're not going to play, right? But look at Baker Mayfield
Yeah.
to venture off a bit. I mean, went 0 for 5 and then went 22 out of 23 for some ungodly number of yardage and 5 touchdowns. Good Lord. He became on fire.
Oh yeah, did not see that one coming. He showed he did look very good as a rookie. You know, he had whatever 30 touchdowns or so. Last year definitely regressed. This year looked like he was still down there. That game last week was a huge bounce back. I don't know if it's sustainable, but if he can find a happy medium, even he'll be a solid fantasy asset.
Yeah, I think he's basically a bench guy right now, just unless you have to play him because of injury or a bye. He's definitely not. He's a tight end or a quarterback two right now. With occasional quarterback one numbers, but not one you can trot out there on a weekly basis. There. Um, you want to take a brief look at how these injuries and how they might affect some of the rosters out there, Laces, or what are you thinking?
Oh yeah, let's give her a stab at it.
There's certainly a laundry list of people to choose from as far as, um, I mean, the carnage, Nick. I'm looking at my notebook here where I've handwritten them for reference. And I mean, look at this. I don't know, maybe, hopefully you can see this. Here, let me do this. Let me do this.
There we go.
Yeah. Anyway,
A little bit of chicken scratch going there.
yeah, that's pretty much what it is. Okay. There. Okay. That's basically why I knew the segment would be long, because we're talking about um, a laundry list to talk about. So, do you have any particular injuries here? Go looking over that list that might hurt some teams that maybe may or may not be up to the task of filling the void there, where there's more hemorrhaging than not, or
I'll just start looking at my matchup here with purple.
oh,
And I
sure.
mentioned Mixon out for me, which is big, but I'll be plugging in Juju, which has been highly inconsistent. So I'm hoping I get a big week from him. Um, that's only one major injury that I'm dealing with. With purple this week, who's he got sitting out? He's got Kenyon Drake out, but he's on bye anyway. And then, he's got McLaren out on bye as well. So 2 weekly starters. Um, looks like he's plugging in Aguilar of the Raiders and
Mm,
Corey Davis of Tennessee. So,
not bad flexers, I guess, if you have to flex somebody. You don't want to have two
yeah,
flexors like that, but
yeah, we'll see how those two pan out for him. I mean, definitely not weekly starters, but maybe good plug-ins for the week.
definitely.
Rolling to the next one with Boomer and Crazy. Boomer's
Ooh,
got Kyler Murray on the bye.
oh, that's gonna
His,
hurt.
his really his only one, but it's his best player, so that hurts. He's going to roll with Jimmy G.
Yeah, that definitely will hurt going up against Crazy. You're gonna want your best guys, and that could definitely hurt on the Boomer side. You know, Kyler Murray's been a big reason why he's been putting up the 160s that he has. I mean, this week he scored, 40 some percent of his points.
Oh,
So,
yeah. Well, also looks like he's still got Aaron Jones in his lineup. And they got him listed as playing right now, but I'm not certain he'll be playing, so Boomer might have to make a late scratch on Aaron Jonesy. With Crazy, let's see, missing Debo. It's his only big name. Um, but he's got the depth at receiver to plug in another guy, so he
yeah,
shouldn't be too worried about that.
yep, he's usually sitting on Debo unless it's a good matchup and he's healthy. I think for the most
Yeah.
part.
One thing to note with Crazy is when Burrow goes off, he starts Brady. When Brady goes off, he starts Burrow. When they both go off, He
That
starts
was
Stafford.
that was the comment that I made because it's just like playing Russian roulette, man. I don't want that problem.
Yeah,
I do not want that problem.
yeah. I mean, they're all good to have, but yeah, it sucks when you pick the wrong one. Looks like he's rolling with Burrow as of right now.
Oh, okay.
See this next one, Just Win Baby has Ertz on the IR, and he's not really affected too much on the buys or injuries this week. I mean, Ertz hurts, but he's got Waller, so that's probably an upgrade anyways.
Yeah, and just on Goddard real quick. Goddard was limited at practice, so he actually has an outside chance of coming back, and so certainly probably next week. So Goddard owners can be aware of that. But yeah, Waller has been putting up, like you just said, constant numbers. So he's been, you know, stepping up to the plate.
Oh yeah. And then Just Wins playing Smash Mouth. Looks
I'm
like
oh,
Smash
that's
has
right.
Watson on the bench, Chase Edmonds on bye, Godwin's out, Chenault is on bye, Kirk is on bye.
And,
So,
and A Rob is concussed.
A Rob's concussed. And we still don't know about if Delvin's going to be there or not, but hopefully he is.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm playing Just Win Baby. So I don't know. We'll have to see if I can put up some big numbers here. I don't know. It's still a decent lineup, even as artillery shelled as it is. I think it's still competitive.
Oh, yeah, looking at it. I mean, you got
I could be
Deontay
delusional.
Johnson yet, Amari Cooper, Mark Andrews, Roethlisberger. You got some talent. Hopefully Preston Williams pans out.
Yeah, indeed, indeed. So yeah, I'm pretty confident coming in with my the talent that has to step up to the plate now, man. It's next man up. It's calling your number. Now let's just see how well this has gone here. You're gonna really notice this on those bye weeks and injuries. So what else you got next on the docket?
Looks like we got half Chubless and Skull. Chubby is missing those three backs we mentioned earlier. Antonio Gibson, David Johnson, and James Robinson all on bye.
Ooh.
And I mean, all of his receivers are good to go, so it looks like he'll be rolling with four receivers, and he's got Gurley going now.
Okay, he's got Gurley going. Okay. Which it's still a little early.
Yeah, I know.
Looks like the Falcons are dominating the yardage game, total yards here,
Yeah,
and passing yards as well. So, uh, 14-6.
I know the first touchdown for Carolina was a rushing touchdown by Curtis Samuel.
Really
Yeah, it was kind of a surprise.
nice to see. Nice to Curtis Samuel owners. Nice to see the equity there.
And looks like the other one was a Curtis Samuel pass from Teddy Turnover.
Ooh, wow. Curtis Samuel stepping up to the plate. Yes, indeed. You just never know when you play him when you have to and be confident with it.
And unfortunately, Bridesmaid benched Curtis Samuel for Russell Gage.
Gage is likely out.
Well, that game's going now. I haven't seen him, so
He's playing Gage over who?
Curtis Samuel.
Oh, sure.
I mean,
Obviously, he doesn't trust Curtis Samuel.
yeah, I mean he hasn't played much, but it's an interesting choice pairing Gage with Ridley and Hurst, starting three pass catchers from Atlanta.
Yeah. And Gage, we didn't mention Gage on our stuff here, but I think Gage was banged up. So we'll have to see how that all plays out. But he may not need Gage. Who's he going up against?
Bridesmaids is playing no other than CC Fall Guy.
Oh, okay. All right.
It looks
So
like Fall Guy is missing Brandon Cooks and Rhaegar and Emmanuel Sanders with the COVID. But looks like most of his weekly starters are in and ready to roll.
in and ready to roll. Okay, so not affected by any injuries of note. Okay.
I mean, he is starting McKinnon, and like we
Ooh,
said earlier, Tevin Coleman's coming back. Hasty might get a little more run.
AC might get some run. Yeah, it's a
I
risky
know,
start. It's risky.
yeah, I know he started McKinnon last week, and he gave him the big 0 burger.
Yeah. Yeah, I would hate to have it come to that, starting McKinnon. But if that's what it has to be, then let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah. Well,
Who else we got here rolling out on the dice board?
we mentioned Chubb, but his opponent was Skoll, and Skoll looks like
Oh yeah.
he's starting Goddard, who's projected
Ooh,
0 now, but I mean, like you said, he may be playing in a limited fashion.
may be playing. Okay.
And he's got Mostert on IR. Fuller's on the bye. Antonio Brown, I believe, has to sit out this week.
Does he?
I think so.
Okay.
Just to go through protocol with this COVID.
Okay. All
But yeah,
right.
for the most part, his starters look like they're pretty solid. Be a good matchup with Chubb. Lastly, we got Ragnar and Meat. Now with Ragnar, he's definitely hurting since he lost Dak. That's a huge injury on his team.
That's a big one.
But that's about it. He's not affected by the bye. He is starting Cam Newton, who had what,
Yeah.
1 point or negative points last week, but he is playing Buffalo. You
Does
never
does
know.
does he have another option there? Or is he pretty much dry?
His third choice is Baker Mayfield.
Oh, sure. Who I'd be thinking about at this
Yeah,
stage.
just based off of last week, you'd think you might want to roll with Baker. I mean, that's
Especially
probably
if
a
it's
40-point swing between the two quarterbacks.
especially if it's away for New England.
And it is.
So they got to go into Buffalo. I don't know.
Yeah. And
Could
then
be a tough
lastly, yeah,
game. He might explode. He might put 50 up though, Cam.
you never know with him. I mean,
So
if you roll him out every week this year, he's probably going to have another 4 giant weeks just because he is superhuman. But
yeah,
he's also going to lay a couple eggs.
yeah.
And then yeah, he's playing Meat, and
McCaffrey is a possible play, but a possible not play. So
yeah, and also Miles Sanders.
doesn't
But even with
McCaffrey have a
both of those
buy-in
two,
next week?
yes. But even with when he's got Sanders and McCaffrey on the bench and Shark on bye and Hooper out, he still has a very good starting lineup with Hilaire, Kamara, Diggs, Claypool, and Woods.
Yeah, it's not like he's drowning in sorrow.
No.
I mean, he clearly is. He had one chink in the armor against CC Fall Guy, but better count his blessings because it isn't often he's going to put up buck 13. I mean, he hasn't had anything under 160 for I think since we started, except for in his in his first loss. I think he put up a lot of points. But anyway, yeah, good matchup. It's tough to beat. So Meat could very easily run the table here.
Yeah. Well, hopefully for all of our sake, he doesn't, and one of us can get a chance at it.
Well, he was pretty strong last year coming into the end of the season, really strong, and he got beat in the first round. But had he not, I mean, he was strong. Okay. He was as strong as anybody going into it there. I mean, half chubby, he was kind of lingering, in that mid-pack range for rating, but
Yep.
then he came on fire late. But yeah, it'll remain to be seen what's going to happen here. I mean, we're not out of the woods yet for COVID. We do have the new policy in place. So it's next man up, same position, highest projected player. We haven't had to use that yet. What other miscellaneous thoughts do we have going on here we need to touch on? We covered a lot of information here, a lot of the injuries, a lot of the kind of the sleeper plays as well. This will actually account for a week 8 preview episode as well. So we'll be able to double dang it there. But when you're listening to the program, definitely subscribe on YouTube and hit the bell so that you don't miss out on any info. And of course, you can follow on the podcast. So anything else we need to kind of touch on, laces out, before we dissect the into the nighttime?
We've covered a lot of info, and I don't really got any more nuggets to give.
So you're out in nuggets. So what we've done is we've brought perspectives and provided insight, and that's what we normally do on the show. So thanks for coming on to the show once again. A lot of good information. It's definitely a changing landscape. You don't know from minute to minute what's going on, but the team with the most depth, I guess, and the most prayers, really, because everybody is beating up on each other. When you look week to week, the league is so competitive that you can't say, oh, well, they should win this game for sure. You know,
Oh yeah.
uh, because there are now 7 teams above 500 and 5 teams below 500. Where last week there was 8 teams that were 500, and so it looks like, but everybody's 4-3. So it isn't like there's more parity this year than I can remember, all the way down the list. So that keeps it a competitive on a weekly basis.
Yeah, hopefully this weekend most of us can avoid major injuries and get these guys that we mentioned back, and hopefully the second half of the year people are fully loaded and not dealing with all these injuries.
All right. Well, hang on, Nick. So welcome, or not welcome, but everybody enjoyed the show. Thank you for listening. And another edition, we're going to sign out on SmashDell Fantasy Football Show.